Thanks for inviting me to the session and nice to meet you all. My name is Yosh. I'm from Mexico City. I'm the CEO and founder of Partrunner. Conversation here on kind of a little bit of my history, like before and then during building Partrunner up until now, and then obviously we can have a discussion or a conversation, any questions you guys may have. I was originally I was born in El Paso, Texas. I have family between Mexico and the US. And 8 years ago, I started college at Northeastern. That's kind of where it all started. I had a scholarship and I was able to come here and basically complete both a bachelor's and a master's in industrial engineering. And that was kind of my first take to obviously living in the US for the first time. And the first time that I got to meet, just founders, entrepreneurs. I was involved with different communities like this during the university, which basically allowed me to keep on working on some interest that I had on the entrepreneurial world. So during at Northeastern, I was part of different programs, but the Husky Startup Challenge was where basically they got a couple of students that wanted to pursue an idea and through a semester-long project, kind of pitch their ideas from start to finish. And that was my first introduction into really this whole world, right? That entrepreneurship and the founding a company is. I also had a little bit of experience working in other companies prior to deciding that I wanted to do Partrunner in my startup full time. Northeastern had a co-op program that for those of you who don't know, it's a 6-month rotational program. And those I did in industry. So I did one with Eversource Energy, which is a utility company out of Boston. And then I was a business analyst in London for a couple of months. And it was my first, and up until now, my last experience in the corporate world. So as you can see, I didn't have too much experience on the corporate world before I started Partrunner. Now, before my third rotation, so my third co-op, my third 6-month internship, I decided to do it at the engineering school. Was having a special program where they supported 2 student entrepreneurs to basically work on an idea of themselves basically for about 6 months with the backing and some of the resources from the university. So this is where it was in late 2017, early 2018 that I participated in this program, and I started the company at the time that was called Delivapart, which was a play on words on delivering part. And a little bit of background on why I started the company was, so my background prior also to working as an industrial engineer, I had some experience working with several civil engineers, several architects. My brother is a construction manager, so I knew vaguely about construction, transportation, like construction material distribution. And when I started this program, I was also part of an idea, which idea was a venture accelerator of Northeastern. I decided to basically learn more about the construction industry and specifically more about how wholesale distributors and suppliers. So think about your Home Depots and your Lowe's that are more in the retail side, but think about it more on the pro side. So working with subcontractors, whether it's the end electrician, plumber, remodeler, you name it. So these are basically companies that move parts, material, equipment all the time. And I got very interested in the space, and that's where I started what was basically Delivapart. So initially when I started the program, or when I started the concept, I had rented a pickup truck out of U-Haul, and I worked out of a local supplier in Massachusetts, in Boston, Mass. And I did just deliveries for a plumbing supplier, basically for about 2 months. I would go there every morning with coffee and donuts, and they just do local deliveries, learn about how basically companies move parts. What are some of the pains that are known in the industry on both sides of the equation, both the suppliers, which are the distributors and the sellers of these parts and materials, the receivers, which are the contractors, which are basically the people and the companies receiving those parts and the materials. And I learned, me and my two co-founders, which I'll go into it in just a second, we started to learn a lot about some of the pains that this industry had. So at that point, obviously, I was about to graduate. This was in 2018, and there was a path between, should I continue the corporate world, or that track, or do something more in the startup and take the risk. And well, I took that risk, which I've been doing it for the past 3 years.